Greetings metalheads and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George and today I'm back with a gig review and I'm on a massive buzz, a serious hype for the great Trivium. So last night I had the extreme pleasure of seeing the great Trivium. They are definitely one of the best and just the most proficient and just generally awesome bands in modern metal. Definitely the forerunners of their generation, absolutely. They are going places. 10 albums under their belt so far in their quite short career, really. What, less than 30 years? Definitely. Less than 3 decades. And it was absolutely freaking awesome. So caught them last night at the Norwich UEA venue. A venue that I have frequented over the years, been there so many times now, and seen some great names there even recently. The likes of Lamb of God, Black Veil Brides, Ailstorm, just to name a few. But that was actually the third time that I've had the pleasure of seeing Trivium at the Norwich UEA. And it was kind of awesome that Matt referenced the fact that the first time they played the UEA was back in 2012. And that was on the In Waves tour. And I was there, and I've got my ticket stub as part of a collage on the wall there, one of many, and that was a mere £17.50. Incredible, but that was a damn good show. And as a teenager then that I remember being absolutely blown away by the sheer brilliance of Trivium. And ever since, that wasn't even the first time that I'd seen them, but over the years I have kind of dipped in and out of Trivium at times. I think between Silence in the Snow and In the Court of the Dragon, that kind of period of their catalogue where we had The Sin and the Sentence, and then we had What the Dead Men Say. Just looking at the album, I keep wanting to call it Catastrophist. It's not Catastrophist. That was, of course, the big song off the album. But between those sort of two albums, after Silence in the Snow, I must admit I kind of did fall away a little bit. I wasn't following them quite as closely. But then when I heard that In the Court of the Dragon was coming out, I was immediately interested because of the cover, I must admit. I was drawn straight in there. And as soon as that came out, I was straight back in there. I was hooked again. I was absolutely blown away by that album. It was one of my favourite albums of that particular year. And I believe this was 2021. Yes, 2021. So a couple of years ago now. But anyway, Trivium, live at the Norwich UEA, 24th of August 2023. What a freaking astounding show that was. Absolutely. I'm still buzzing from that massively. Absolutely mind-blowing performance. Unfortunately, due to a mixture of work commitments and parental commitments as well, I wasn't quite able to catch the full bill. I was rather hoping to catch Orbit Culture and Bleed From Within, two really important bands in modern metal. Certainly they are, and as Matt Hafey, frontman, vocalist, guitarist of Trivium, rightly pointed out, and very humbly pointed out between tracks when interacting with the crowd, he stated that they are two bands that are definitely going places, definite importance in modern metal. They're going to be going places, and they are going places. And actually, I completely agree. They are two very good bands, two names that frequently come up in the metal world, and with good reason. But unfortunately, I didn't get to catch Orbit Culture, and Bleed From Within were already on stage by the time I actually arrived. But have to be honest, for me, the main event was catching Trivium, of course. That was the main draw. Celebrating 15 years of the great Shogun album. So that is the album. Indeed, this was released in 2008. So yes, exactly 15 years ago. An absolute corker of an album. And I haven't actually listened to this in, I'm going to say, about a year. I know that I listened to it sometime after listening to In the Court of the Dragon again, and even not hearing that material for that period of time, straight away, as soon as they were kicking into those tracks, it was straight back there. I was straight there, headbanging along like a lunatic. But just damn fine stuff. So yeah, 15 years of the Shogun album that they were celebrating. They were marking that in a really spectacular way by including some serious deep cuts from this album in their set list. And it was mind-blowing, just the brilliance of it and just the way that they absolutely delivered 110% every single one of those tracks. Some of them, I'm not entirely sure, but I believe that Matt did say that some of them they've never played live before. So, awesome, right? But overall, that tour, bizarrely titled the Goblins and Wizards Tour. Not really sure what that is all about, but I think maybe it's just a cool name because in the Court of the Dragon, that latest album, doesn't have any mention of goblins on there, or wizards for that matter. There's dragons, but no. No mention of goblins or wizards there. Whatever the reason for the name, not really sure. Just a mixture of touring this album in the Court of the Dragon and also, again, representing 15 years of the great Shogun. Absolutely blinding stuff. I will just say, current lineup. We've got Matt Heafy, vocals, guitars. We've got Paolo Gregoletto on bass, backing vocals. I'm basically just reading the lineup from the In the Court of the Dragon booklet. Then we've got Corey Bioliu. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce. Guitar and backing vocals. And then we've got Alex Bent on drums. Now, musicianship with these guys was faultless throughout. Absolutely fantastic. Even Paulo, recovering from a recent operation, unexpected operation on a hernia, I believe, who has been recovering, not carrying his bass on a strap, but having it sort of on a stand, if you like, on a prop. Absolute flawless musicianship. These guys are serious talents. You look at Corey and Matt shredding away on those guitars, absolutely delivering amazing rhythm sections, incredible leads, blinding solos. And for me, I found Alex's drum performance absolutely freaking mesmerizing. That guy is an absolute beast on this album. He delivers such a performance, but live, my God, that was one of the finest drum performances I have seen in a long time. No bloated drum solos or anything like that, just delivering for those songs. Absolutely incredible drumming performance. A sight to behold. Absolutely incredible musicianship, as I say. So, got our context. It's a combination of In the Court of the Dragon, combination of Shogun. Aesthetically, the stage was astounding. It had a large backdrop with this kind of, I want to say, well, actually, to be honest, the whole stage set was largely sort of Oriental influence and aesthetic, sort of Japanese heritage. I don't really know, and I don't want to insult any cultures, but I'm going to say that it's Oriental and Japanese in style and design, or influence at least, but also some really cool giant sort of coiled dragon statues, I suppose, with glowing red eyes, light up eyes. Amazing light show as well. It wasn't pyro, but talk about a light show. Wow, that was freaking cool as well. So not only did they have the incredible musicianship, not only did they have the amazing, the amazing talent there and the amazing set list. We'll get onto that, but they had a cool looking stage as well. It really did look the part. And I mean, the UEA isn't a massive venue. I wouldn't like to guess the capacity, to be honest, but it's quite a small venue, to be honest, in the grand scheme of things. So Trivium absolutely packed that place, and it was freaking hot in that venue, I must say. But overall, it looked the part. Aesthetically, Matt's outfit was incredibly interesting. A very bright and colourful jacket that he came on stage in, although that did not last long, because as Matt said, it reminded him of Florida. It was so freaking hot in there, and it was a serious sweat box in that place, I must admit. That aside, very colourful outfit, very colourful shoes from Matt, but hey, I'm all up for pushing the boundaries of normality. Of course, what's the fun in every single metal performer rocking up on stage in a Megadeth t-shirt or a Cannibal Corpse shirt? Is there any need? Nah. Chuck a bit of colour and spice in there, that's what I say, Matt. Well done for that. Keeping it real. Says me sitting here in the Ross the Boss t-shirt. Hey. But anyway, getting back to that show, amazing. Absolutely brilliant. But what really stood out for me was the set list. So I mentioned that this is from the Shogun 15th anniversary tour. Of course, they represented this well. We had, and not in any particular order, although I do know that second or third track in, we had Down from the Sky. Probably one of their biggest tracks, to be honest, or most well-known tracks. An absolute belter. Everyone was singing along, everyone was headbanging, everyone was having a great time. Absolutely killer. And I cannot describe just how much I freaking love that song. Elsewhere, we also had Chrisute Gomen, the opening track from this album. Torn between Skylar and Charybdis. Charybdis? I'm not even sure on the pronunciation of these, but I just know that they're freaking awesome tracks. Real deep cuts though, we had Insurrection and we also had The Calamity. It almost took me by complete surprise because if I was going to pick some tracks from this album, I probably would have, of course, picked tracks like Chrisute Gomen, Down from the Sky. Probably would have gone Into the Mouth of Hell We March. Maybe of Prometheus and the Crucifix, maybe. But The Calamity and the Insurrection, I probably wouldn't have necessarily thought them straight away. But my God, those live performances were absolutely astounding. Totally blew me away. The intricacy, the sheer heaviness of it. I mean, you can say what you like about modern metal. Maybe it will never be as heavy, never be as good as the Maidens and the Judas Priest or the Cannibal Corpse and the Black Dahlia Murders, the Lamb of Gods, whatever. To be honest, Trivium pack a seriously freaking heavy punch. They've got those thrash elements in there with those fast riffs. They've also got amazing intricacy as well, technicality. Monstrous choruses that get the entire venue singing along, and they've also got serious, harsh vocals. Matt is a brilliant vocalist. He can do cleans really well. He's got power and he's got essence in his vocals, but he's also got a seriously good aggressive vocal style as well. Absolutely love it. It's freaking great. Anyway, the representation of this album was extensive and seriously good. Not a filler track on there. It was absolutely brilliant. Only track that we had representing In the Court of the Dragon was after the opening sort of interlude piece there, or intro piece. We had In the Court of the Dragon, the title track, which was astounding. I absolutely loved that album, and it was a brilliant, brilliant track, brilliant inclusion. From the album before that, we got What the Dead Men Say, which I think has a really, really creepy cover, to be honest. That is pretty weird. The only track representing that one was Catastrophist, which is quite a big track for them, to be honest. You know, if you look on Spotify, no doubt it's going to be like one of the most played. But it's a great one. And I can't get over how Matt's vocals almost adopt a bit of a Corey Taylor style affliction. I don't know why. And in his own right, Matt Heafy is an incredible vocalist. Brilliant voice. But he does have a real sort of Corey Taylor resonance to his vocals on that track. And even live, there's a little bit of that translation. I think it's just the sheer sort of power and, or maybe not power, but sort of emotion and like genuine feeling that Corey, you know, certainly appears that way anyway, that he puts into his vocals. I'm not saying Matt doesn't, but that's just the kind of translation there. It's difficult to describe, but you listen to that track, Catastrophist, from What the Dead Men Say, and you tell me that it doesn't have a little bit of a Corey Taylor vibe to Matt's vocals. But either way, I love that song, and I love both of those vocalists. From the Sin and the Sentence album, we did have The Heart of Your Hate, which is That's a bit of an interesting track because that's a serious sort of melodic death metal. Well, maybe it's got a little bit of a metalcore vibe, but there's certainly massive melodicism there. Huge crushing weighty riffs. The reason I say melodic death metal is because I don't know why, but there's something about it that reminds me of In Flames. So that was the association there. But an interesting album because I didn't hear this first time round. I wasn't there for that one, but I will say that material actually has really grown on me over these years. Good representation from Vengeance Falls. Again, this is a weird album because a lot of people seem to crap on it, to be honest, but I do not understand why. Check out the underrated albums review that I did on this way back. But Strife, what an absolute anthemic belter that track is, and represented very, very well in a seriously crowd-pleasing, rousing rendition. Man, that was heavy, and that was frickin' good. Of course, Trivium would probably be booed off stage if they didn't represent this particular ditty from 2005, the album that really made Trivium, certainly here in the UK, their second album, Ascendancy, an absolute fan favourite and a serious favourite of mine. I absolutely love this album, and I remember the first time I heard it, I thought it was just the heaviest, greatest thing that had ever been laid to tape. But represented really well with two absolute gems. We had Pull Harder on the Strings of Your Martyr, and of course we had A Gunshot to the Head of Trepidation. But to be honest, this album is brilliant back to back with other tracks like Rain. We have The Deceived, Dying in Your Arms, like Light to the Flies. Big tracks, absolutely flawless stuff. But they picked two really good ones there and two pretty safe choices as well, guaranteed to appease the crowd. Some deep cuts as well from, I believe it's the third album, The Crusade. We had Becoming the Dragon, and we had Entrance of the Conflagration as well. Brilliant renditions, seriously good stuff. I think this is a little bit of an underrated album in the fact that I'm going to say this is a little bit more of an accessible sound, a little bit more thrash orientated, very anthemic, very big in its sound. It's the perfect sort of album put on when you've had a few beers and you want some riffs, some thrashing riffs, but you want something a bit heavier than just your bog standard Megadeth record. Don't know why I keep picking on Megadeth today, but man. The Crusade, not necessarily my favourite. It was actually the first Trivium album that I heard, but I will say it is growing on me, or it has grown on me over the years, and certainly Becoming the Dragon is an epic track. And translated live, it was brilliant. Everyone was loving that, going totally crazy. Matt had such good crowd interaction with that, really getting everyone going, really rousing stuff. Brilliant set, start to finish. But what we did have was an absolute treat as an encore. An absolute diamond. We had Capsizing the Sea, the intro piece, preceding the great In Waves. One of the most bludgeoning, barbaric, monolithic, crushingly heavy riffs that I've heard probably ever. That breakdown, crushing riff with the roar, the absolutely throat-annihilating roar from Matt of In Waves. That is just magnificent. That is something that anytime I hear that, I will immediately start headbanging along to. It's like a trigger. I just freaking love it. And that is an album that I frequently revisit, to be honest. It was the album that really solidified my absolute love for Trivium way back when. As an impressionable teenager, I was so freaking hooked on that. After already, getting into Ascendancy, I thought, how could it get better? How could it get better than that? Absolutely freaking blown away by In Waves. I love that album, but that particular track, monstrous. And in that live environment, those riffs were enormous. They were colossal. It was crushing stuff. but it was freaking awesome. Absolutely monolithic. Weighty riffs, bringing the freaking house down. Everyone was going mental. A lot of perfectly synchronized headbanging and windmilling and going totally crazy. It was just freaking awesome. Absolutely loved it. And what I thought was genuinely brilliant is that Matt Hafey throughout, he's such an energetic guy. He's a really nice guy, taking care of the crowd, looking out for people, giving water. He's just got that great crowd kind of charisma and interaction. He's just a great personality. So positive and upbeat and energetic, running around, constantly pulling faces, sticking his tongue out. He's just a fun guy. He's just a really fun guy. And he's just got that great energy and personality. And he said throughout the set, thanks to the crowd, thanks to the UK for really adopting Trivium and giving them the boost, because this country embraced Trivium from a very early stage. We've all seen that legendary Download Festival footage where they had like something crazy, like in excess of 5 or 6 circle pits going on simultaneously mid-morning on like the first day. Absolutely brilliant stuff. But they are such a great band. They're so loved in this country. Please do come back to the UK, and particularly Norwich, Cambridge, Ipswich area, this kind of East Anglia, into Cambridgeshire. That's okay. Just not just London and Birmingham. But anyway, there was a freaking great performance. Absolutely loved it. And as I say, Matt, what a great frontman. What great personality. Corey, absolutely freaking machine on that guitar. Same with Alex, absolutely smashing away. And of course, Paolo, phenomenal bassist. That guy has some freaking talent. Absolute machine, especially considering he's just had an operation like a few weeks ago. Significant operation. That guy, unstoppable. Absolutely brilliant. So if you've got a chance, you've got many dates left on this tour, catch Trivium before it's too late. If you've never heard Trivium, maybe you've been put off by the fact that they've just rocketed, in popularity, and that they've gone from 0 to 100 or 0 to 10 albums in very rapid succession. They've really grown. If you're put off by the fact that people like them and they're becoming really popular, swallow your pride and check them out, because I guarantee you'll be astounded by some of the quality metal. Certainly in the maturity and brilliance of albums like Shogun, In the Court of the Dragon, and the youthful aggression and brilliance of albums like Ascendancy, and just charismatic melodicism and just enthusiasm and energy in albums such as, and ambition as well, in albums such as The Crusade. So check them out, catch them before it's too late, because they've announced that they're not going to be doing any tours for a little while. They're not going to be recording just yet. I think the plan is that they're going to be working on their sort of recording studio, and taking a well-deserved break. They've done nearly 200 shows on this. By the time this UK tour will be done, they've done something like in excess of 200 shows in support of In the Court of the Dragon, which has bled into the celebration of 15 years of Shogun. Anyone that's been touring that long deserves a freaking break. So catch them before it's too late. Although I do hope, as Matt alluded, that they come back and celebrate 20 years of Ascendancy, because that is something I need to catch. Check them out. Trivium, an awesome band, an awesome live performance. I've seen them. That was the 6th time that I've seen Trivium, and every time has been brilliant. Thanks for watching, my friends. Go check out Trivium. Thanks again for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. Do take care of yourselves. Look after yourselves at the upcoming shows. Keep hydrated. Also drink beer, but not too much. Water too, important. Thanks again, my friends. Take care and stay heavy.